This is the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, presented by Pizza, Wings, and Things in Temple. Our weekly conversation with Temple Wildcats Coach Stewart. Here's our host, Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone here with another edition of the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings, Pizza, and Things in Temple. Here with Coach Stewart. And Coach, congratulations on the win. Went out and got the W against A&M Consolidated on Friday, 28-20. If y'all weren't in the building, it was definitely a nice atmosphere with homecoming and everything, and definitely very enjoyable to be in a place, and also good to just see the offense get to rolling how it was. So before we get into talking about this, it's a little chilly outside. We actually got some football weather on our hands, so I know I'm excited about it. I know as a football player, it's like, we got, it's a little chilly outside. I feel like you get a little extra motivation to go practice. It's a little cool. We don't got to complain, worry about the heat, So
well, I'll tell you this: as the generations go, Oliver, I think we're getting softer and softer because, I promise you, there'll be kids with sweatshirts on today, and they think it's just if it gets below 70, it's winter. So, but it is. It feels good out there right now, and it's a nice little change. Those kids will be bebopping around. That first kind of chill, gets that electricity in the air. Yeah. So I think everybody kind of subconsciously knows it's football season, and it's starting to feel like football season. So,
oh yeah, definitely. So what I want to start with in the game, I feel like what was kind of a surprise. I know when I was up broadcasting, I was like, we were out here slinging the rock. Yeah, I was like, wow.
We feel like we're a team that takes what you give us. We went in there with a purpose or emphasis on taking exactly what we give them, and you got to trust your quarterback to make those decisions. And I told you a couple weeks ago, TJ gets better with every throw. He gets better with every situation that he learns from. Because again, we're talking about a kid that's played 6 games in his entire life on the varsity level. So he doesn't come in with a wealth of experience, but he is learning fast. And they came in with a loaded box. They were going to make us throw the ball, and different people have different philosophies on defense, and so you just got to take what they give you. And I thought he did well. We've got some work to do on. For the first time, we started fast. I think anybody missed that first quarter. My wife was at my daughter's volleyball game, and she came out after the first quarter and was like, "We really didn't play that well, but I missed the first quarter." I said, "Well, you missed us playing well because I feel like that first quarter we played with anybody in the state of Texas."
Yeah, our cylinders were on full go. The way y'all were coming out just slinging, I was like, wow. Because I feel like forever we always talking about, this stable of running backs we got, and it was just, I feel like I was at a Tech game, it was just air raid, know.
But you got to take what they give you, and we've shown we can finish at times. We've shown we play well in the meat of the game, in the middle of the game at times, but we hadn't started well, and we started well, and we didn't play particularly great. I don't think there was a letdown per se. I just think, sometimes with the immature group especially, you get ahead, you lose a little bit of focus because it wasn't like we weren't trying hard. It wasn't like we were ready for the game to be over. But, just lost some focus there. We didn't catch the ball well in the second half. But we did show we can start fast. So we've effectively shown we can play all phases of this game and all times of this game. We just got to try to put one together. We got a little sloppy in the second half, and they made a game out of it. But we catch 4 or 5 balls. Especially 3 wide open deep balls that we overthrew or just didn't catch. Now you're talking about 48. You're talking about 48-14. That's a whole different.
It could have easily been a good 3 of them. And I was just like, if it was just the slight overthrow, if his arms were just a little longer,
And we got to get him out of that. Our quarterbacks try to make every throw perfect. And it's not a bad thing, but it's. Sometimes you just got to let the receiver run underneath it. You just got to let him. You just got to trust your guys and just throw it up. And if it's underthrown a little bit and he gets tackled, it's still gaining 50.
Let him make a play.
Yeah. So we just got to give him a chance, and we're getting better. Like I said, there is no teacher like experience, and there's only one way to get experience. So I was real fired up how our defense had played in the first half. Oh, yeah. I was real fired up about how our offense had played in the first quarter, and then the first drive. I think it showed a little bit of our identity, what we could be at some point if we just stay on this grind. But we threw the ball all over the yard in the first half, and then the first series, I think it was a 13-play drive, and we ran the ball 12 times or something like that. It just and went down and scored. So now our inconsistencies are going to kill us, But we've got to get better, and we've got to get more consistent. And we've got to, learn to make the plays when we got to make it. I went for a 4th and 3 because the look they were giving us, it was wide open, and we throw it into lane 3 in the track. You know, we don't give ourselves even a chance to catch the ball. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff that we got to really evaluate and take a look at and just work on.
Yeah, I feel like more than anything, what I liked seeing was, you know, I feel like when it comes to our receiving game, you hear Jackson, Hextall, and then Johnson,
yeah.
Hextall, and then we actually had Keon Johnson who led. He was our Nathan Paul's Raston's player of the game. We were doing the broadcast because he was just might not have got the most yak, but he's gonna make that catch.
Very sure-handed kid.
Yeah.
You know, he is a very integral part of this offense because, again, those guys on the outside get the shots and they get the stats a lot of times. That's what comes with those shot downs and those shot passes. But, I mean, he's a really, really good slot receiver, and you know, he's just a junior, and so we're really proud of how he's playing. And
I feel just if you weren't at the game, I don't know if that was his last catch, the one with the helmet came off.
Yeah.
And still held on to the ball and everything. I was just like, that kind of reminded me of Jason Witten, you know,
right.
That one time he got the helmet knocked off and he still went ahead and ran.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
for the
wow.
life of me, I couldn't get anybody explaining to me why that wasn't targeted.
Yeah, because, trust me, I was up top. And you see him just clear as day, head to head, boom.
Yeah, he launched, and, I mean, it was just – the official said he didn't see it. So, I mean,
you can't get them all, I suppose,
yeah.
You know. Hey, you know, we're not even going to go into that, though. Right. It's no
cowards blame officials.
Yeah,
I mean, their job's tough enough as it is. I think, honestly, this game is too fast for some of them, but just because it's changed so much and it's tempo and stuff like that, I think they're doing the best they can. So, you know, it just is what it is. Yeah, we all want them to be perfect and not mess anything up, but, you know, I can't even hold myself to that standard. So you just got to move on. You got to play. You got to play to a level where the officials don't matter. So
it's true statement. And I feel like the drive that made the game was the one you were talking about when we came out the second half when you had it was Anthony Jackson, and you just fed him, and it was just like 6, 7 pop, and I was like,
they came out. I mean, obviously they run a 4-man front. They were loading the box, and I think we threw the ball for a couple hundred yards in the first half, and so they obviously made a halftime adjustment. They came out in kind of a 3-4 look or an odd look, and you know, there's not many people in the box, and so again, this offense is designed about take what they give you, and so we just felt like we were going to try to establish a run, you know, change of pace, a little change up, to use a baseball analogy, but it you know ran well. They went back to their big box kind of after that, and they kind of got in and out some looks. They did a good job changing up the looks on us and stuff like that, but I know, you know, it's just something that you take again. You just try to roll the moment. You try to ride the momentum of the game, and you just try to be, you know, not get too greedy and make some stupid penalties or stupid mistakes, and get sloppy with the football. You know, we had a couple turnovers in the second half that didn't help us, and we just got to learn. We've got to learn to play more consistently, and so if we'll do that, you know, I mean, it'll give us the best chance that we got.
Well, like you said, I mean, he makes it sound so easy. I mean, we just take what they give him. That's really and truly, that's all it was. We got the W, so at the end of the day, like you said, you learn from it. But, I mean, got to keep going. And we know we have the Bryan Rudder Rangers coming at us this week. So, going to wrap it up for this first part of the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings, Pizza, and Things. And after we come back, we'll get into the Bryan Rudder Rangers coming at us this week. And Oliver Stone back here with the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings, Pizza, and Things. And Temple back here with Coach Stewart. And as we were discussing, once again, congrats on the win, 28-20 over A&M Consolidated on homecoming. But now we're going to take our talents down to Bryan on Friday against the Rudder Rangers. And what are they looking like this year, Coach?
Well, they got a new coach down there. They've kind of revamped their system, and they're going in a different direction. And so, you know, there's always some attrition with that when you move in. I mean, I can attest to that. I've been to several places, and when you go put in a new system, it takes a little bit. They're a lot better than their record suggests. They play hard. They're big up front on the O-line. They're fast on defense. They've got an identity. I mean, that's one thing that, you know, you play some people that aren't very good and they're trying to search for something week in and week out. You know, you feel like you got them. I'm not going to name names, but you feel like you're seeing an offense of the week or a defense of the week, and they just don't stick with their identity because they're just trying to figure out a way to happen into a win. This is not that group. I mean, they know what they want to do. They do it. You know, they've got some. They get better every game. They played some good people. I mean, they got beat by St. Pius X, and you know that's the team. St. Pius X is the one that beat College Station 60-48 or whatever it was. I mean, just scored a ton of points, and you know, Rudder didn't play them poorly. I mean, you know, so we can't go into it. They're rebuilding. They're trying to get their system going in place, but they do some things. I mean, I'll tell you this: Iowa State goes into Norman and beats Oklahoma. You know what I mean? That to me is less likely than Bryan Rudder giving us all we want. I mean, we've got to go down there and we've got to play our style of football. We've got to make no mistakes. They don't go very fast on offense. They try to minimize your touches and exactly what Iowa State did. Is you go down there and you try. You'd have to ask them what their philosophy is, but it looks to me like, slow the game down, pound the rock. Keep this thing slow. Keep as few touches on the opponent's offense as possible, and just hope they make enough mistakes or you make enough plays where you're in it at the end to give yourself a chance. That's exactly what Iowa State did, and it worked out for them. So
true.
We can't go down there. I don't believe in overlooking people because all we do is stress. We play the way we play, how we play, why we play, because of us, not because of who's on the other sideline. I don't like groups and I don't respect groups that get really, really hyped for the big games and then kind of get flat. They play to the level of their opponent type deal. I can't do that because A, they're on a lot higher level than probably people give them credit for, and B, I just don't think that's the way you prepare. And we got to do a really good job of preparing ourselves for us and going and playing our game. And then it is an anomaly. I mean, it's power out football. It's old school football running. I mean, they get in the dot. They got a fullback right behind the quarterback. They got a tailback behind him. I mean, I ain't seen that, Yeah. So it makes it tough. You get 3 days to prepare a year for this kind of stuff. We didn't know what was coming in because I didn't know him from when I guess he was at Madisonville or wherever he was before. So, I mean, this is an anomaly. So it's one of those games. It's like you said. I think you called it a trap game last time with University. Mm-hmm. This is probably more so because they're better. I mean, they're not broke at all, and they play hard.
Yeah, and I feel like something with University is that they had a lot of athletes, but they just really didn't have the size.
Right.
I know you're saying Rudder has some big guys.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are some of their offensive their strong points?
Well, their offensive line is really good. I mean, they run the football, and they're going to run the football, and it's old school ISO. I formation, dot backfield, what we call dot. I mean, again, quarterback under center. They run power, they run counter, they run toss, they run play action off of it. They're not. Their identity is we're going to be. I mean, they're very aggressive. They come off the ball. You can tell that they've done a good job of selling to these kids that old school football ain't dead.
It ain't broke. We're good old round.
I used to look forward to looking at that kind of stuff, and now that everything cycles, Oliver, in football. Everything's coming back. It'll eventually all come back around. Everybody will have their belly full of all this spread stuff, and then, I guess they're ahead of the curve on that. 3 years ago when I had 4 hands on the ground on defense, everybody thought I was a dinosaur. They thought, and now if you look at it, there's a lot more four-man fronts than what there used to be because everybody said, well, you got to be in a 3-man front to adjust all these formations. No, you don't. No, you don't. But so, there's some Pete Fredenberg and myself, and not that I'm comparing myself with Coach Fredenberg by any means, but he's a guy that believed in what he does and stuck with it, and I'm the same way.
Trust even being a player for a good old Coach Fred. It was sometimes I'd be like, what are we doing? Then we get in the game, I'm like, appreciate it, Coach.
Exactly.
Appreciate it, Coach.
It's hard to argue with somebody that's done it. A, has done it as long as he has, and B, has had as much success. I mean, Coach Fredenberg will never remember this, ever, but I don't know. It was probably 1997, maybe even before that. I mean, I was a baby in the coaching business, and we went up to TCU with the coordinator there, and I guess he knew Coach Fred. But you go up there, and he's just giving the business to the TCU coaches. He's coaching wherever Coach Fred was coaching, wherever he's coaching at that point. And I mean, he's just giving them the business. I mean, and he may be in at UMHB at that time. I don't know when.
I think at that time, that's when they were just starting the program up there.
But I mean, you go up there, and I'm like, okay, I'd heard his name, but when he's up there talking, and they were kind of in a meetings, it was kind of a clinic situation. And he gets up there and kind of takes over, and he's not telling them they're stupid or whatever. But he's like, have you ever thought about this, and the whole room gets quiet. It's like, wow,
you just soaking this all.
You realize real quick, because I think a lot of people think, okay, well, that's D3 football. I'm just telling you, he's one of the best defensive minds on the planet. Period. The end. And so, it's just cool to see and to have a guy that says, you know what, everybody's going to this cute stuff. You know, I'm pretty sure he has a 3-man front. He has a dime package. I mean, that's what we all do. We all can get in and out. But I'm going to tell you what, his bread and butter is still that 4-man.
4-2-5.
Yeah. And so I love that, and I love that part of this that you got those guys. I feel like I'm one of those guys. I mean, I ain't changing. So we'll tweak what we got to tweak, but I ain't changing.
And I trust being, a defensive tackle, that'd be the worst thing you do in drills. You see Coach Fred walk up, you're like, oh, I got to make sure I'm perfect. And that'd be the best thing when Coach Fred give you a babe. You're like, yeah. He was walking, yes.
That's what that's, again, I respect people who are like that. That's our philosophy. And I'm going to tell you what, watching Bryan Rudder, that's their philosophy. They're going to do what they do. They're not going to falter. They're not going to waver. And they're going to get good at what they do. And it's that old school philosophy. We're going to get good at something. And they get better and better every week. And I'm telling you, it's a deal it can be a recipe for disaster if you depend on a lot of touches on offense, especially as inconsistently as we've played. I mean, if we've got to have 14 drives to get 4 touchdowns, that ain't good, because we may not get 14 drives. And so you get 8 drives and you only get 2 touchdowns. Now you may have some problems. You know what I mean? And it just makes those big plays. I mean, they probably got more explosive plays this year, what we call explosive plays, anything over 25 yards. They probably got more of those this year than what I saw all of last year. And it's in this, because all they're doing, they got a big old back. He's a horse. And he's downhill, shoulders down, and if he gets a crease, he's at third level right now. And so, this is not one of those fun ones. It's not. I'm not just sitting there. I mean, nobody ever should be. But it's not like we're sitting there thinking about whoever's next. I don't even know who that is. But we got our work cut out for them, and they do a good job. They're well coached and they're aggressive.
So it sounds like we're gonna get a good old dose of some good old school our forms, some traps, some counters, powers.
It's gonna take you back. If you've got any background knowledge of what football used to look like, it's gonna take you back. And I'm talking about even prior to the slot tee and stuff. I mean, this is dead eye, downhill, and they got about a 210-pound back there just bringing the wood. So. We're going to have to play big boy football this week. We'll
have to bring the lunch pails this week,
Yeah, it's definitely a blue-collar kind of game.
All right, well, there y'all go. We brought Bryan Rudder coming up this weekend. On Friday, we'll be in Bryan for the game. So, like I said, sounds like we got us a little challenge, some good old school feel coming at us this week. But after the break, I'll be talking to the defensive coordinator of the Temple Wildcats, Coach Farrell. Oliver Stone back here with the Temple Wildcats Coaches Show, brought to you by Wings Pizza and Things. I'm here with the defensive coordinator, Coach Farrell. And, Coach, congratulations on the win. 28-20, went out, got the job done on homecoming against a very good A&M consolidated team who I feel like I gave y'all everything that they had. I know y'all threw everything out there that y'all had at them. And once again, looks like our defense came and got the job done, put on the show. Really, I think, consolidated, maybe got half of the yards they normally. I think they were averaging a game or something like that.
Yardage was low. It was a good win. Good win for our kids. Started off hot and held on at the end. Made a play when we needed to and got out of there, man. It got a little nerve-wracking, but got out of there.
I know as a defensive coordinator, when you start to see, when you get up big so early in the game and your defense is playing well at the same time, it's like you got to know this is kind of early,
I thought our kids did a really good job with that. We talked about that on the sideline and at halftime to expect it to be a full game regardless of what the situation is now. And it's something I was worried about early in the year, but our kids really did a good job showing some maturity on the sideline. And I didn't think they played any differently, even when they had a few runs there. The momentum was on their side towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Our kids were still playing hard. I didn't think there was any letdown in them. I was proud of them.
Oh yeah, not at all. I feel like you had guys just flying all over the field, and we had a pretty good pass rush majority of the game too. I feel like we kept. He wasn't just sitting in the pocket.
He didn't get to stay in the pocket. Our tackling percentage stuff went down a little bit. We struggled for whatever reason this week. That's kind of what we're trying to work on and get back to where we need it to be, where it has been. But quarterback had to move around, which helped us in the back end for sure.
Definitely so. And I was saying we got the job done there, and then now this week we have the Bryan Rudder. We're going to be making that trip down to Bryan. And I know Coach Stewart was telling me they have kind of an old school feel with their offense. A lot of, big boys up front, hands in the dirt, and we going to basically come right at you. And So could you tell us a little bit of what we should be expecting this week from these guys?
Sure, that's about right. A lot of I formation, power, counter, straight downhill ISO. It is a little bit old school smash mouth football, which is nice to see every now and then. It's a different mentality than a lot of the other offenses that we've played and a lot of the more modern offenses, but they've got a good back. They've got some good old linemen. Quarterback's athletic, and they can get downhill on you. The film they look better on the film than what we thought they would. So we're just preparing to fit that mold and that style offense this week.
So really and truly, the record really doesn't speak for what you actually see.
Right. I think we have to create a good habit of not looking at those things, not looking at records.
Yeah. Just
see what you see on the tape and fit the scheme and fit the bodies that are on the tape. And then at the end of the deal, it'll come out how it's supposed to come out if you approach it with that process. But it works on the flip side as well. Somebody comes in with a big time record and you start worshiping them because of that, then you're going to have problems. So just watch your tape.
At the end of the day, you watch your film and just go out there and face the challenge at hand. Because I feel like, as you as a coach, kind of have to let your players. And I feel like in this era, this generation, so much is on social media
Sure.
and on TV where people just look at stuff all the time and see records and
Sure.
see how people do things. And at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, something like you're saying, like Consolidated came in here 5-0, and
right.
we're like, well, I mean, we went out here and got the job done,
Mm-hmm.
and this could be the same way with these guys. They're winless right now, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, you could have that almost where the younger guys are like, oh, well, they haven't won a game, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, anybody can get beat on any given day.
Right.
You overlooking somebody, or you come in a big team hasn't lost, and maybe you overlook somebody. I mean, it's a reason you play the game.
Right.
If that was the case, why would we even play the game if you just go off of that? So
I think that just goes back to your day-to-day habits and what we're trying to develop in our kids is just to try to approach each day head on and try to win that, and you'll be fine. But if you come into your regular day, no matter what you're doing, if it's football or if you're going to school or going to your job, and you think it's just going to be easy and you don't have to put forth any effort, you'll probably be surprised. And just approach it every day, give good effort.
Yeah, feel as if that's all you can ask, and especially in this district of 18-5A. I mean, I feel like you can't overlook anybody because I feel like because right now, I mean, yeah, we're a couple games into district now, so I mean, district's really up and going now. And we see how competitive district is. I feel like it doesn't matter week by week, whoever you're going to go against, you're going to get their best shot. Because I mean, it's all or nothing now. I mean,
sure.
Every game counts. So.
One day at a time, one practice at a time, one opponent at a time. Don't look behind. Don't look ahead.
Yeah, and then just to go back on, I'm just ready for this game just to see. Because now in this time of football, you don't, like you're saying, the off form and just, your quarterback under the center and you got your fullback, running back. It's not something you see all the time. People get so used to people coming out of shotgun and you got your back to the strength or to the near side of the field or whatnot. And, all of these wide formations and everything. And it sounds like here you're going to have your 5 linemen. You might have a couple tight ends. So I feel like for some of y'all who, have been so used to seeing all of this, drop back and just let it go and all of these, big plays. I mean, you could potentially have big plays, but it's just going to be a lot of here, take the ball.
Yep, traditional schemes are still good schemes.
Yeah.
They still work, and difference is they're going to come right out at you. They're not going to send it out in space and window dress and do that. They're coming at you right now, and they're still really effective. I've seen a lot of teams run these schemes and have big yardage, so everybody just has their preference of what they do.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. And that was something else me and Coach Stewart were addressing, that, this team, even though they're winless, they have an identity.
Right, yeah.
They definitely have an identity. It's not like some of these teams who, they have a new coach and whatnot. And, some of these new teams where they come in and they're trying to just do things to win games. They're going to do what they consider their bread and butter.
Right.
And basically you have to stop it,
Yep.
So I feel as if, obviously I know y'all are going to have some kind of scheme set up to, hey, do this, read your keys, do this. And I mean, I would be drooling as if I'm a defensive lineman for a game like this, because I mean, I know games we had teams that like to do that. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what you love, because if you're getting counters and all this, okay, if I'm going, I see y'all pulling, oh, I'm coming. Like, right. You know, it's
for D lineman, the ball's definitely going to be played in your territory more with this type of offense rather than little bubble screens and then pass the game and all throwing out wide quick. You know, with D lineman, some of those modern schemes, you don't get as many opportunities. This traditional scheme now it's on you.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the kind of game you defensive lineman, you're nipping at the bit. Like when you come in and watch film, you're like, oh, like yes, this is one of those where he's just back here rubbing the hands and film. Like yes, this is gonna be one of those weeks.
Yep, I think each week has its part. You know, if you're a back end coach and they're slinging it around, you're excited, and if they're running it a bunch and you're D line linebacker coach, you're excited, and you know where the ball's going to be.
Exactly.
You know where the majority of the game's going to be played. And those guys, absolutely. If you're a D lineman and you're not excited for a team that runs the ball a bunch, then you're probably in the wrong business.
Yeah, you got to be, because I know, like I'm saying, I'm not even playing, and I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that'll be it, y'all. Like we said, we're going to make that trip down to Bryan, and kickoff will be at 7:30 p.m. If you can't be in attendance at the game, you can listen into the K-Rock 1017 broadcast, which will begin at 7 o'clock p.m. for the pregame, and then the kickoff will begin at 7:30 p.m. Or if you want to make the trip, come out to Wings, Pizza, and Things from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. for our Wildcat lunch, where we'll be handing out our Temple Wildcat K-Rock 1017 shirts to go blue out their stadium in Bryan. And that, like I said, will be going 12 p.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. But till next week, world, this is the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show.